Raw versus cooked. There is definitely a lot of headbutting going on here when you are researching about raw foods versus cooked foods. Now, I'm going to give you access to the science behind both thoughts here. We got raw foodists saying that you cook food over 120 degrees Fahrenheit and you destroy all of its enzymes, vitamins, minerals, etc. That it becomes toxic to the body. Then you've got a lot of scientific studies showing that by cooking some foods, your body will easier absorb the nutrition. There is a difference between enzymes and nutrition. So let's step back and look at it from another perspective. I believe both are partially right. Many studies have shown us that when you soak and sprout a seed, the enzymes start kicking around, the enzyme inhibitors and phytates are neutralized, starches and proteins begin to break down into simpler forms, and there is an increase in vitamin and mineral content. Now, I don't want you to just believe me when I explain this. I want to just bring this to the table so that you can look at it. Experiment with both sides of it and test it and prove it to yourself. This is something I'm very particular about. I've read so many books about foods and diet, and they look ingenious on paper. And it seems that logically it would make sense, such as the raw food diet. So then I take these things and put them into practice so that I can see and feel for myself if this works in reality. So for 7 years, I tried to put this raw food diet into reality, and all I can tell you is that I just didn't feel right. It wasn't really working. In the long run, I wasn't gaining the strengths and energy levels that are usually promised. It made perfect sense on paper, but in reality, it just didn't work for long periods of time. And I've heard all the excuses of, well, you're addicted to cooked foods and you're detoxing, etc. Well, I've done a 25-day fast on water only. I've done several liver gallbladder colon cleanses and several shorter fasts of 5 to 7 days. So from my perspective, I had detoxed enough. And it still didn't seem to work. So I kept on reading all the science about this, looking for the answer. So after all this confusion of eat this, don't eat that, cook it, don't cook it, I finally started looking at what the masters and the healthiest people and groups of people around the world were saying. And I kept finding that in their diets that cooked food was a part of it. I researched the Essenes, Christ, Buddha, Hindus, yogis, etc. And cooked food was always in their diet. So then I thought, these guys came here to help people. They tried to teach people from harming themselves and others. They taught the deeper truths of the universe. So if cooked foods were harmful, why would they poison themselves with it? I mean, these guys avoided all bodily harm. So then I really started researching cooked foods and what happens during cooking. Now, looking at the scientific side of cooking, we can go into great detail. And I've given you links to this info, but here are the basics. There is scientific data showing that when some foods are cooked, such as grains and legumes, yes, enzymes are lost in the cooking process, but the other nutrients are much more available and easier to absorb by the body. So, though you compromise the enzymes, you are going to digest the proteins and other nutrients much easier. It's also been discovered that during the sprouting process of grains and legumes, the enzymes already do much of the digesting for you before the cooking process, so that your body does not have to work that hard for digestion. One theory is that we only have a certain amount of enzymes when they are used up trying to digest food, it makes us age faster. Okay, it sounds like a logical theory. But what has also been recently discovered is that there are over 4,000 enzymes in each cell, and most of them lie dormant until they are activated by minerals. David Wolfe, one of the greatest raw food gurus who I have the utmost respect for, gave a great analogy saying that these enzymes were like parked cars waiting to be driven around by their drivers. And who were their drivers? The minerals. So it wasn't enzymes that activated other enzymes, it was minerals that activated the enzymes. David says grains are the highest plant source of minerals in a video that I'll give you. So if we get plenty of minerals from the best source, grains, then the cells will function much more properly. I'm sure most of you have heard by now that many sources tell you to alkalize your body with minerals. By eating grains, you can do this every day without having to take pills. Now, it's also been argued that cooking destroys minerals.